This is Dawn. Welcome to my YouTube channel. Today I'm going to show you how to make this card using the Smiles from the Garden stamp set along with Isabella scrapbooking. So these are the two stamp sets and they have coordinating thin cuts. And so I'm going to use a bunch of the floral images and butterflies. And then I'm also using white daisy cardstock, black cardstock, and a piece of mix-in paper. So I've loaded all of my floral images into my MISTI so that I can quickly stamp them. And I'm going to use Mink ink because I'm going to color everything with watercolor pencils. And I'm not going to use water. I'm just going to color with the pencils. So I can quickly stamp lots of images using my MISTI, and it's not quite going to be no line coloring, but close enough, and just real soft florals and lighter colors that aren't quite as intense as the tri-blend markers. Okay, so I'm flipping my Versamat over so I can stamp my butterflies, and I'm just picking out which images from this set that I want to use. There's lots of butterflies to choose from. I'm going to stamp these in black so that the butterflies are a little more intense and draw your eye a little bit more, and then the floral images will be in the background. So I'm going to stamp these in black, and everything will be cut out using the coordinating thin cuts. So I'm going to stamp 3 sizes. I'm not sure which butterflies I want to use. So I'm going to stamp 3, and then I can pick and choose what I want to put on my card. Okay, so I'm going to flip my Versamat back over and I'm going to do some coloring. So these are the Close to My Heart watercolor pencils. And I'm just going to color everything in, and I'm going to do a little blending with some Gamsol and a blending stump rather than using water. And in retrospect, I probably should have used watercolor paper for these. It would have been a lot easier to use the watercolor pencils with a paper that has a little tooth to it. So noted, use watercolor paper for this technique. Okay, so now I'm going to cut my base, and I'm just using black cardstock and cutting it in an A2 size. So that is 4¼ excuse me, yeah, 4¼ by 5½. And then I'm cutting my mix-in paper at 4 by 5¼ so that I can layer it on top and have a black border. So this is my clear shimmer brush, and I'm just going to splatter some shimmer and glitter all around on this piece of mix-in paper just for a little added interest. Okay, so I'm going to set that aside to dry, and then I'll bring my big shot in. So I will cut one image and then I'll skip ahead. So just line up your thin cut, and I'm using purple tape to secure it. You can use washi tape, something that is low tack so it won't tear your paper. And then you just run your image through and you get a perfect cut that matches your stamped image. Okay, so the next step is to take some black cardstock, and I'm going to do my sentiment. So I've flipped my Versamat back over for stamping, and I'm using White Daisy pigment ink. And this ink stays wet for quite a while. So after I stamp my image, I'm going to sprinkle some white detail powder on top of it and emboss my image. It just brings out the detail of the image, and you have a little dimension, and it's just more intense. So I'm going to heat this up with my heat tool and melt that embossing powder. Okay, so now I have my sentiment, and I'm going to trim down this piece. So I'm just lining it up in my trimmer to make sure that it's straight, and then I'm just going to trim around it, and I'm leaving just enough so that I can dovetail one end. So no set size, I'm just kind of trimming it up so it has just a tiny black border around my image, and then I'm dovetailing one end. Okay, now we can start building the card. I have a basic A2 card base, And I'm just going to attach everything with Tombow tape runner, and then different sizes of foam tape. So I have the thin foam tape, and then I have the regular 3D foam tape, so that I can pop all of my images at different levels on my card, so I have lots of interest and dimension. So then I'm putting my mix-in piece down, and it left a lot of shimmer on my mat, so I had to get that cleaned up first. So now I'm just going to start layering all of my images. So I decided that the purple butterfly isn't going to work, so I'll use that on a different card in the future. I'll save it. So I'm just going to lay all of these pink flowers and leaves out on my card, and it's going to be kind of the background. And I play around with it, and you'll see that I lift some up. And if you're super careful, you can pull some things up and kind of shift them around. And I'm putting some of the flowers down with just Tombow, and then this is the regular 3D foam tape, so it's going to make my butterfly sit a little bit higher off the card. And I'm just building everything. So I'm going to keep all of this in the video just so you can see my process. And it's just kind of trial and error, and put some things down, see what it looks like. And I do pull some things up once in a while and kind of shift things around a little bit. But like I said, you do have to be super careful so you don't tear your paper. And I'll just put some more foam tape down and move all my images around. So all of these supplies are currently available in my online store. They're part of the July-August catalog. And I will make a list of everything with links in the description below, and you can shop at the URL in the upper right corner of your screen. Lots of cute images in both of these stamp sets and sentiments that are great for cards and for scrapbook layouts. So this one, I just decided to add a couple of glue dots because it was already stuck underneath that flower. So whatever works, right? So I just keep adding everything and deciding how, looking at how it looks, and if I like it, I'll stick it down. So just keep building. And then I liked that green leaf, so I decided my flower needed to go underneath it. And then the butterfly. And then my sentiment. I thought that's where it was going to go, and I played around with it a little bit, but ultimately I decided not to cover up the flowers, and I put it in the upper left corner. Just keep trying it and looking at it and seeing if it's balanced and if you like it. All right. There we go. I'll have some close-ups in just a second. So there's the finished card, and here are the close-ups. So I appreciate you watching my video today. If you haven't subscribed yet, please hit that subscribe button. I would really appreciate that. And here's some more close-ups of this pretty card. Love these images. I appreciate you watching today. Thanks.